Hello, welcome. Today, what I'm going to do is I am going to take you with me as I begin from scratch in Google Earth. And we are going to be creating a metro line. It's going to be, of course, between downtown Portland and downtown Vancouver. So we're going to try to do it as realistic as possible. It will have to have some utopianism in it, though, because the people that are always bitching about how that's unrealistic, though, therefore you're an idiot, Danny. What they don't realize is how stupid and illogical they sound, because it's like it requires a sense of utopianism, because you kind of have to, because again, when you've built for the car, if you can't fucking tell, the automobile, oh god, yeah, it's going to look like this, and it's going to be long since established, and you're going to have to decimate a large portion. No matter how hard you try not to, it's going to be lethally more expensive than it could have been if you just fucking did urbanism right and actually built for transit. By, in other words, you're not building before you build the transit, you're building the transit and the road networks out first, the rail networks out first, and then you build your cities. That's the correct order and way to do it. But we're going to try to be as realistic as possible, despite that fact, doing this. Now, obviously, we want to start with our main station. It's going to be downtown. Union Station and this whole Pearl District area probably is the smartest and most realistic area to actually put a station, even though that's not downtown. I feel like that's a great starting spot. But actually, I think this was the U.S. Post Office that they knocked out. And then they're building a bunch of other... God, they're building so many luxury freaking condominium and apartment buildings. It's so disgusting. It's so typical, though. It is safe. Yes. I feel like also Union Station could be upgraded a lot and add more capacity for sure. And in fact, actually, you have a lot of right-of-way here, space, to be able to add another track. It looks like maybe they removed it at one point in history. But that's perfect for expansionism. So that's all the more reason why you technically could argue you could use this. See, here's the thing, is that you have the waterfront park, Tom McCall Waterfront Park. What you could theoretically do is you could actually cut and cover a station into the park. It's a perfect candidate for cut and cover. You could easily put a station in there. But then you're already underground and you don't really have any space to work with unless you put, say, the station in here underground or here underground. And then you have the space forward, aft, whatever the heck you want to term it as, to be able to work with to then go through and under, basically tunnel under the river, in theory. I'm not sure how deep the river is in Portland. I always kind of wanted to know that information and that detail, but I don't think there's publicly available data. I mean, I'm sure there is. I just don't know how to find it. There is a curiosity I have, which is that I would like to have it downtown, but the east side might be more viable, both reality and utopian wise, just if you started in the Lloyd District / Rose Quarter, where the convention center is and all that, the Rose Garden. That could totally be realistic. This is the Lloyd Center Mall. It'd be totally realistic to be able to do that. And then you might actually get more funding and more support from the businesses and obviously the county, the state, and Metro, because they're trying to figure out what to do with the entire Lloyd District, but especially the Lloyd Center Mall and the whole complex there. They don't know what the heck they're going to do with it. There's been like 17 different, I swear it's been at least 17 different proposals over the last like 8 years for what the heck that they want to do with it and developers want to do with it. We've even had the PDX Diamond project, the one that wants to bring the MLB to Portland, to PDX, propose that they could use the Lloyd Center lot and build the MLB stadium there and a bit of an entertainment complex to revitalize and restore the Lloyd District back to life again. The point is, because of that, there's realistically in real life and even in the utopian view, there could actually be reason to suggest this as well. Especially considering, again, you have the Rose Quarter Transit Center right here, the Memorial Coliseum, you have the Rose Garden, the Convention Center, all of that right here. The Lloyd District is very historic. You even have Albina nearby. They probably, again, that would be another reason that would actually realistically in real life entice the city, county, and even community to be more happy and willing to have a main station there. And because of the proximity of the Rose Quarter Transit Center and the freeway interchanges and everything, you could actually reason that that could work really well, especially considering also the majority of the Portland city proper population, and even the, I'd say about probably around 2/3 of the entire metro area's population is on the east side of the river. So that makes it a little slightly more accessible. So you could put the station on Fifth Avenue. Again, it's kind of difficult to pull that off, especially with all the trees that Portland's so famous for. And I love the fact that they have so many trees in a big city. And no matter what they keep doing, they keep preserving so many of their trees. It's wonderful. More cities need to do that. So Fifth Street seems like it'd probably be the most optimal because you're kind of balancing it out between here, proximity wise, and obviously I-405. If you put yourself kind of in the middle, it's probably going to be Fifth. See, there's a part of me that still wants to stick very hard to realism because like, how are you going to do this? Because otherwise, it's a very tiny fine line between realism and going all out utopian, to where it's like, I'm going to make it easy on myself. I'm not going to worry about all the logistics. And I kind of can't because I don't really know the math behind it. I don't have any involvement in that kind of stuff. So we're just going to start it off. I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to do our stations. In fact, let's do the stations first. Let's just split this into parts. So let's start with stations. Let's make this a station video. Or I could just put it all together as one. I don't know. But let's do this. Do not want the opacity to be all the way up there. Opacity, whatever. Whoops. I know it's not even. Again, we're not going to be too picky about nitpicks because it could take forever. So let's just make it take up an entire block. I feel like that's plenty long enough. At Portland, it's 240 or is it 250? I'm pretty sure it's 250 feet by 250 feet are Portland City blocks. Mass transit options that can connect you directly into this besides your own feet. Scooter, a bike that'll directly connect you quite safely and quickly up to the station. I kind of still want to have a station here just because if I can have one underneath and thus as a part of Union Station, my thought process is that in the future, I don't just want to do this metro line. I want to also have a regional or a local or an intercity line. Could even be an intercity express line, but preferably an IC line, an intercity line, so a regional line that goes further south and obviously further north and connects, you know, a lot of smaller towns, but also some bigger neighborhoods. So it has more stops overall, but it's still technically more express than a normal light rail line or something, say. Because this idea of this one is going to be more of an express metro. But yeah, so that's why I like that idea, because then it can connect up to that one. And then it also connects up to Amtrak Cascades. So then again, that would be more ambiguous, and I'll leave it up to you guys to decide for yourself and envision it for yourself. If it's just Amtrak Cascades, if there's Cascadia ultra high speed rail in, or if it's some other version, whether it's mine or yours, of some sort of a regional or IC or ICE line. That's why I would love to have a station here. But because of the proximity to, again, the Lloyd District and the Entertainment District, basically, where the Rose Garden, Memorial Coliseum, and obviously the Convention Center are, I feel like you have to pick and choose which one you're going to do. And we have to eventually tunnel underneath here, too. And if you're that close to the river and you're going to angle it, obviously, north like this, that's a bit of a problem, even in Utopia, where it comes down to how deep is that station going to be. It's going to be way down there, which is a problem. I also like how the Rose Quarter Transit Center isn't truly a transit center, which is pretty typical for TriMet. You gotta just like try to place it in a way that makes sense. Like, you could use some of this space by, since you're still technically underground, you could actually, in theory, place a station like right here underneath the southbound lanes of I-5. And you could, in theory, do that. So having a slightly curved station. Because then you have this like green area and parkland-ish areas here. And it could directly connect up to the street here, up to here. Or better yet, just connect here, and then you'd have a connection there, and here. And well, bam, you have yourself direct connectivity to and from the station in here. And that's relatively central. I mean, there's not a lot going on here, but then again, it's still proximity to the Rose Quarter Transit Center. It's still a proximity to all this, and obviously you can either walk, bike, or you can take TriMet to get there. There's a billion and one options right here, right? And then if you really wanted to, you could have it curved like this so that maybe you've already started to come up. Maybe once you got here, you get to the apex of your depth, obviously, in the middle of the river. And then immediately thereafter, you slowly start, of course, increasing your angle to come back up. And eventually you could actually go into your full overground idea here by going up and coming out of the tunnel like right here, or right here even, and just continuing on. In fact, you could even keep it at grade for a little bit until you get a freebie to go up, because they're still, apparently, they're not going to let this go. They're going to fucking go through with this no matter how much opposition they have. And I believe ODOT actually has more opposition against the Rose Quarter I-5 expansion project than they have support. They always have, if I recall correctly. And so the fact that they're still going to do it no matter what, like basically it's like, yeah, you actually don't have a choice. We're still going to use your money to do it what we want, whether you want it or not. Fuck you. Kind of says a lot. And if they do that, then again, that gives you, once again, a perfect opportunity to be able to take advantage of that and come up. Even if you stay under an I grade, you can come up right here and go up and rise up into your viaduct. Bam. In fact, there's a little flyover interchange because, again, there was supposed to be the Mount Hood freeway. So we still have this from the 70s, which is fucking funny. 60s and 70s. And we can actually use that to our advantage because we're already rising up. So I actually like that idea. And then we'll curve in and take on this infrastructure and use it as the start of our flyover for this before we slowly can come back down to a consistent height for the viaduct. And I'd actually kind of like that idea. There's more space on the left side, the west side, but that's an idea. So I actually kind of like that. So let's go back to where we were. I'm going to put in the station kind of right where I said I would. So it still should probably be more central than not, and it does give more ability to ramp. You might think it's weird that I say ramp, but in my opinion, ramps are way superior in every way to stairs as they are to elevators and escalators, because they can't fail. Ramps, they can't fail. And they don't have the preventative issues for ADA people, or people that just have maybe, I don't know, they're really sore for some reason. It doesn't have that problem that stairs cause, where they can't really use them. We're covered, baby. So no problems there. So that's why ramps are important to me. We can put one here because then it gives you direct access to Swan Island. And this looks like it's about the only direct access point to Swan Island. So I think actually that's probably a smart idea. So I think somewhere in this Overlook Boise Humboldt area, I think is probably where another station should be put. And obviously, again, I like the idea of taking advantage of interchanges. Yeah, I guess it's not as close as it seems. You could also technically put one in theory here, but that just seems really stupid. Like, I get why you might, because Emmanuel is right here, and all this other big employment and all that. And then again, you could appease people by putting it in Albina. And then, of course, that could spur even further redevelopment to be able to kind of restore it, at least, but in a higher density, more equitable fashion. If you're big into DEI, I'm not, but go for it. So again, because you got to think about logistics, and part of it is psychology, part of it is marketing, technically. So you could technically, in theory, do that. It is still really close by, though. So I think actually, yeah, that good medium area is right here. The annoying thing is these bridges are a bitch if we're going to be at viaduct at all here, because then we'd have to go higher in order to cross them over, or we'd have to keep going down and then back up again. And it's not going to really work logistically. So I suppose what I will do is I will just pretend that it's not a problem. That's always the right option, right? In life is always just, when you encounter a problem, just pretend it's not real and it doesn't exist, and you'll be okay. Problem solved, you know? I think that's the way that works, right? I was going to try to put it closer to the freeway, just because, again, I feel like it makes some sense, but I'm not actually going to do that. That'd be too long, though. That's what she said when she left me. Let me see. Here we go. I'm a bit of the... I'm a man of the Vienna Sausage Club. It's a fucking lie, but it's good for the trope. God damn it, now I'm going to be a nitpicking bitch. Just leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it. Okay. You can tell how the interstate, so the yellow line, expo line is going through here as well. So actually you have options across this, across the way. If you wanted to have more local and more frequent stops, you could just pop on over to the yellow line. As if anybody's probably gonna do that. Even if it's more convenient, it's like, yeah, it'll get me to where I'm getting to, but I'm gonna walk backwards, butt naked, both ways, uphill, boulder on my back, glass on my feet, barefoot, all the way there, from 3.5 miles away. Because no, absolutely not. Yeah, well, you know what? They do need the ability to have again the steady climb up. So it's gonna actually end up longer than it was before. Sufficient. That's the longest station so far. Why not? Why not? Okay. Yeah. So I think what I'm gonna do, you could actually technically, yeah, you could technically build paths. Although this area I think floods pretty frequently from the slough. I mean, yeah, we're basically filled in swampland in the Portland area, so it's. I mean, yeah, because you probably go past under it. You just about, well, actually no, because you'd be elevated. So you could actually put a station like right here, right? You're already elevated to come up from here. So you could just have a built-in path along the viaduct that's obviously separated safety-wise from the tracks that go down to either here or go down to, well, I was gonna say down to here, but that doesn't really make any sense unless you connect here, which I guess you could. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good idea to have a connection there too. I do though. I really love that. I just feel like it makes a lot of sense. Because then you have your pathway, your walkway down to the road, or walkways technically, right? Down to this road. You still have a redevelopment opportunity because of this. And you also have a walkway that would connect, let's see. How would you connect? That makes sense. I guess. Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess you could go on, you still be on viaduct. So you could literally follow the trackway a little bit and then slowly go down and connect right here. And then this side could do the same, I guess. Yeah, that's possible. And you're connected up to these roads. I think that actually makes some sense. And then this area is still kind of, this side of the slough is connected, but so is this side. It just seems like, it seems dumb on the surface. It seems like, why the fuck did they do that? But I actually think that genuinely makes a lot of sense. Again, especially if you envision redevelopment in this little slot. So then people have on both sides of the road, they have the freeway. They have options to directly connect up to the station, take a very short, under half-mile walk to the station. Therefore, those paths are currently represented. Yes. And then obviously, we don't need to, but I'm going to do it anyway, just for my own sanity at this point. Since I already did it with those, I'm going to do it here too. There's actually already a path that's been worn along the slough here, which is kind of cool. You could actually make it into like a proper parkway too, if you wanted to. Now I think about it, because again, we're going to try to do this, in my mind, we're going to do it in the tunnel. Again, it's going to be ambiguous though in sight, which means that it's up to you. If you prefer it as the bridge, that's, envision it that way, because it's totally fine either way. It's not obviously some weird strict thing, because it's not technically real, but we're going to do the tunnel, and I know they're trying to move it like a little to the west, I think like right through here? I think it's here, or maybe it's here. Actually, I think it might be here. But they're trying to move it to the west, the bridge, which is fucking stupid. Instead of just using the same path they already had, they want to get rid of it and completely go over here, leave these in place, and then take them down once they build the other one. Nothing about logistics makes any fucking sense. It's just it's a way of them to funnel money, I swear, man. But we're gonna pretend that we're doing the tunnel now, and so this is gonna be we're just gonna follow the same path. So that means that this station is even more optimized for that. In fact, it's even angled correctly, which I love. See how it aims like that? So that's actually fucking fantastic. I love that. Let's do it like this. Boom. There we go. Okay. So Vancouver. We have Fort Vancouver over here, but we have downtown Vancouver over here and the redeveloping they're doing over here. This might eventually turn into a proper park or development. I mean, obviously they're still developing this apparently, which used to be just industrial stuff. It is a tunnel though, so we'd have to be coming up. I'm acting like we're above. We're not. So technically, I should do just about anything I want in the pathing here. So yeah, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start here. I think I'll put the station over here would be better because you could redevelop this. You could redevelop on top of the station. I actually like that a lot too. Just get rid of this parking lot and this empty space, and bam, you actually have now this redeveloped properly, and you also have the. I like that a lot. Yeah, and you're still in direct proximity, and you can directly connect up to these guys. I like that a lot. So you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have the station right here. Here's Vancouver Station for the metro system. I kind of would want to do that. I'm not sure how the C-Tran network is though in downtown. If they have good enough connectivity through this area, like to and through these areas of downtown here and through here and back, actually I wouldn't have to add another station. I'm just going to assume that we probably won't need that, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put a station up here. I think that makes some sense. I think I'm going to put it like right... I think this is the good compromise, because I kind of want to put it here, but I think one of these two streets is probably the better compromise. And this looks like it has better strode width, so I actually think this might be the best option. Let's put it like right here. The station will be like... Whoops. Didn't complete it again. I'll just have it like under fourth plane. That's not fourth plane. Partially under fourth plane. Fourth and fifth, I believe it is, plane. I don't know what it is with them in plane up there in Vancouver area, but everything's plane. No pun intended. And I think I'll lengthen it out actually to be like that, because I think that's closer to what the length of the actual stations I've been making are, is like this. So it'll take up the full intersections too. And I think that'll be the stops. Shut up. That'll be the stops from the metro line. 3, 6, 8. Total of 8 stops for the metro line between downtown Portland and downtown Vancouver. That is, I feel like, actually a perfect little sweet spot. I feel like I actually fucking nailed that. They're not really visible right now though, unfortunately. So maybe I do have to have them as, I probably should have them as fully. Let me fix that real quick. I don't think I can do it all at once though. Change their properties. Yeah, that's annoying. Figured I'd visualize the actual line and using a color code that will actually showcase the grade that the rail is at. So obviously orange is going to be a tunnel. Green is that little transfer zone between tunnel and viaduct. Purple is viaduct. So this would be the line. So of course we have this one in downtown. Downtown, directly outside of the Wells Fargo Tower. It's also very close to PSU. I didn't actually mention that, but this is the PSU complex right here. So this is actually pretty perfect for that as well. Then obviously we have the station right here at the Rose Quarter and Lloyd District. Then we got the skip out from there to the next station, which is here in the Overlook / Boise / Humboldt area. It also directly connects you, as you can tell, from here to Swan Island, which is one of the main reasons why I chose to use that as a station location. Then the next station, of course, is going to be here. And of course, as you can see, here's that crossover into where the station over the Columbia Slough is at for Delta Park in that area. And then, of course, it goes over and into Hayden Island. You have your Hayden Island stop. And as I showed, you got your first downtown Vancouver station, and then your second one right here, which is off of the fourth plane. So that is your stations and your line that we've came up with on the fly right here. And it only took, well, about an hour and a half to do. Again, I feel like this is genuinely something that is relatively realistic, while balancing that out with the required utopianism that it also requires being here in the US, where this kind of stuff just is never gonna happen. It never has, it probably never will, but it's... a man can dream, goddammit. So it's like a perfect little pipe dream mixed with realism. I feel like it's just really cool. Obviously, the main reason why realism wise why people would say this is beyond comprehension in terms of like how like irrationally illogical it is to suggest it has any realism, is quite simply because of how expensive it would be, given that it's about what, a third tunnel, a half viaduct, or maybe I should know. They say it's half viaduct and half tunnel, with the two little transfer points here in Delta Park and then down here around the Rose Quarter. Because those both would be prohibitively expensive, but at the same time, it's better than paying billions upon billions for a 7-mile light rail line. Just saying. So yeah, I just wanted to take you with me on this kind of journey as I literally do it in live time and the recording. Just you almost, in a way, you could actually learn about my kind of thought processes when it goes into this kind of stuff. Obviously, I actually kept it quite brief because when I started, I was going on about all this other stuff, and you might have thought, that's a lot. Like, that's, you can shut up now. But I could have gone on for infinitely longer, overthinking, whether it's my autism or whatever else you want to consider it to be. That's what it is. That's how I function. So you were spared a lot. But yeah, there's a lot to consider. And obviously, I still feel like this is, like I said, pretty much as close to a perfect balance as you can get between realism and utopianism. So that is the idea for a metro line between downtown Portland and Vancouver with 8 stops. And that's it. So it's quite express as well, while still not functioning as a regional or an IC or a ICE line, so an intercity or an intercity express line. Let me know what you think down below, and actually I would love to be able to find other people that are like-minded like this, that love getting lost in Google Earth, doing these kinds of proposals or concepts or whatever you want to consider them to be, whether you consider them to be realistic or not, or just pure absolute chaotic pipe dreams. Either way, I really couldn't care less. I would love to be able to build a community of like-minded people who love doing that and spend a lot of time doing it, so we can kind of merge together different concepts and ideas and see just the variety that comes out of this. So let me know what you guys think about this idea down below. And of course, furthermore, what your proposals you think would be, including what alterations you'd probably make to this line. Try not to use, entirely realism, and try not to use too much realism. Try to balance it out again, or go full utopian. I just don't want too much realism, because that's the kind of reason why people like me do this kind of shit, is because we want to escape from reality, especially of this country, in the US, and the transit and urbanism that doesn't really exist. That's just why we do this. So try to curb your enthusiasm for realistic, honest logistics and engineering, and just, if you want to only do that, you want to rant about it, do it in your own video or something like that, but don't try to keep it from here. I would really encourage that. Obviously, it's a free world. You get to do what you want with it, but prefer not to. But yes, if you're willing to use some semblance of utopianism, I would love to see your alterations to this and what your ideas. Maybe this inspired. That said, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you around in whatever my next video might be. Stay safe out there, and imagine up so much more. Let's build a world, even if it's in our heads, together, that is so much better and not insufferable in transit and urban and road planning like it is now. Okay, bye-bye.